Hey, I bet you clicked on this video to hear someone rant about similar problems you may be having in a game. You're currently playing, like, say, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, or even Dark Souls. Well, I hate to inform you of this, but this isn't true. Today I dedicate this video to not only the player, but as well as the future developers of today. Have you ever had a time when you had a lot of trouble in a game and you couldn't progress further because you just didn't prepare enough or didn't have the skills to pull off the challenge? Well, of course you have, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video. I do not want to ask you, though, how do you go about a challenge? Now really think about this, because this could also apply to not only the game, but life as well. Do you take the challenge head on, living with trial and error, waiting for the one time where you learn from your previous mistakes? Or do you take the extra measure to give yourself the slight advantage you may need to overcome said challenge? Generally, these two are the ways that people overcome a trial and a challenge, and that's not bad, not at all. The real problem arises when you add patience into the equation. I myself take the problem by the horns and trial and error it. I do have a lot of patience, but a short temper as well. However, just because you get mad at a problem doesn't mean you have to quit or give up on it. I'm sure you're asking yourself, where is this all going? Well, I'm saying this because in recent years, people just don't understand difficulty in video games and the culture behind it as well, as a whole. And the stages people go through to either fail the challenge or come out on top. I really want you to think about this. What is the most recent challenging game to you? There is no wrong answer. No, really, there isn't. I say this because if you look at tutorials to, I don't know, beat the boss, you'll see the comments people are saying the fight didn't give them much trouble. Like on the other side of the coin, some people may have had a hard time on it. Everyone's concept of difficulty is different, and yet there's always an insult to sling towards your fellow person, because you don't see eye to eye on a game you both have played. Don't misunderstand, there's nothing wrong with having a different opinion. The real issue is people judging each other just because they can't beat a game, telling them to get good. This is especially true in large multiplayer games. We as a group of people who simply like to play games shouldn't have to insult each other to see eye on eye on certain things. Now I know not everyone believes in this, as the anonymity of internet can bring out the worst in people, especially in hard or competitive games. However, I'm not complaining about toxicity towards one another. I don't mind the insults towards each other at all. We shouldn't insult the other guy for having trouble with a game, or even the developer at the game, which I'm still occasionally guilty of, generally complaining that it was the game maker's fault rather than me as a player. Though sometimes it can be a bug in the game, but I digress. I recently, in the year of 2019 to now, played a short slew of games generally considered to be difficult games. Examples like Cuphead, Dark Souls 3, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, and Hollow Knight, and now Monster Hunter World. These are only a few games in a bunch, but you get the idea. To me, each of these games should be showered with praise for the different accomplishments they have. Are they perfect? No, not even close. But do they embody my next point, and the reason I play hard games? You, the viewer watching, I'm sure you have played a Mario game, right? Ask yourself, how long did it take you to beat that game? A day? Week? Possibly a month? I won't judge. Still, I like to think you got the most of it done in a short time frame. This is a great example of the market today. The games are made for the casual, fickle for the weak. Players who simply want a time waster or burnout without a whole lot of content. Am I saying this is bad? Not even close. But if you compare a Mario game today and one of the past, there is a clear difference. No, not the graphics, rather in gameplay. While one is brutal and the other one is objectively simpler, easier. I'm making the argument not for the game designed for children, rather what it means to have a level of difficulty in a game than none at all. Why do you beat that game? Was it your friends, or a simple desire to see the conclusion? More often than not, that's what we tell ourselves, but deep down you know as well as I do, you overcome the challenge for yourself, not for other reasons. You keep telling yourself one more time, in a frustrated tone, warping your image of challenge. And though, to you at the time it may have seemed annoying, you'll look back at it, hating the challenge, but you'll also be glad you overcame it with your strength and wit. When you quit or give up on something, it lingers like hell, and yet you softly regret doing that. Some come back while others try to bury it deep down and attempt to forget about it. But what's a game without a trial or challenges? Well, it's not really a game at all. Well, it is, but you're not playing the game, rather yourself. Am I saying right after this video, go find hard games to play? No. I'm just saying you should, before you quit a challenge or real life, you should ask yourself, what's it for? Sure, you may not have much to show for your accomplishment other than a PS4 trophy, Xbox achievement, or a Steam achievement, etc. But, again, you're doing it for the satisfaction of yourself. I truly hope after you overcome something, you take pride in that fact and use that as a stepping stone to better yourself for the future trials ahead. As said by the great Bennett Foddy, you're not the player, rather the will in the game you play. Please believe I'm not saying to always play difficult games. I enjoy a few time wasters here and there, but I'm saying take pride in what you play or do. Now, as of writing this script, it's difficult for me to reflect on what games are to me, and the time I've spent on them, and I don't usually regret the time I spend with a game, because I'm the one who clicked on the play button and proceeding to play on it. However, for any developers watching, there is an elephant in the room that needs to be addressed, and that is, while making a game, are you thinking about what type of game are you making? I'm not talking about genre. In short, is it a short and sweet like Celeste, or a sweet yet bitter like Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy? Or is this supposed to be a thrilling, long adventure for the player like Hollow Knight or, to an extent, Dark Souls? If it's the latter, please take pride in what you do. Don't release an unfinished game that you plan to finish in the future with DLC. Because those type of projects tend to end up with a large difficulty spike for no reason, which I like to call artificial difficulty. You can't beat the challenge, not because of your skills, rather just because you didn't get the right RNG or didn't spend enough money on microtransactions with the extra DLC you paid for on top of the base game. Most companies do this for money and forget the whole point of games, which is for the fun of us playing them. Because most players aren't dumb and willing to give you the benefit of the doubt in hopes that maybe you made something special and not a hot, steamy pile of garbage. That asks for more money. DLC isn't wrong, but it must be done right. Okay, I'm done now. I know that last bit was a lot to take in, and all I wanted to do was address the difficulty for players. I like to think that you should get $1 for every hour you're playing a game. But sometimes, if I feel strongly about a game that wasn't to my liking, do you ask for the $1 back? Thanks for watching. I know it seemed like I was a little harsh on the industry as a whole with its player base, but I simply wanted to put my thoughts out there. Hopefully it gets to a few of you out of the millions who do play games, and I'm hoping you feel the same way about difficulty as a whole, and I'm hoping that maybe we can, as a collective, do something about it. Alright, that's all. I'm hoping your day goes well, and thanks for watching again. Bye. By the way, Spaghetti ASMR coming soon.